You yawned today, maybe twice while reading that sentence. Maybe you just stifled one in a meeting or a classroom or on public transport, pressing your lips together like you were hiding something shameful. But here's what nobody told you. That yawn you just swallowed was not a sign of boredom. It was not a sign of tiredness. It was your brain running its ancient air conditioning system. And every time you hold one in, you're overriding a piece of biology that has been keeping brains cool since before humans had language. Start with what's actually strange about yawning. Almost every vertebrate on Earth does it. Fish yawn, snakes yawn, birds yawn. Human fetuses start yawning in the womb at around 11 weeks, before they've ever taken a single breath. If yawning were just about getting more oxygen, the explanation most of us grew up with, none of that would make sense. A fetus isn't breathing air. A fish is surrounded by water. Whatever yawning is for, oxygen is not the answer. The researcher who changed how science thinks about yawning is Andrew Gallup. While working at the University of Albany, Gallup proposed something that sounds almost too mechanical to be true. Yawning, he argued, is a brain cooling mechanism. When your jaw stretches wide and your neck extends, blood flow to the brain increases dramatically. The deep inhalation pulls cooler air across the nasal passages and into the upper throat, where it passes close to the carotid arteries feeding your brain. The entire sequence, jaw stretch, deep breath, increased circulation, functions like a radiator flushing coolant through an overheating engine. Think about that for a second. Every yawn is a thermal event. Your brain runs hot from sustained attention, from cognitive load, from simply being awake and processing the world. And the yawn is how it dials the temperature back down. Gallup tested this experimentally. He had people hold warm packs or cold packs against their foreheads. The ones holding warm packs, simulating an overheated brain, yawned significantly more. The ones with cold packs barely yawned at all. Other researchers later confirmed the pattern. People yawn more in warm weather than in cold. They yawn more in the afternoon when body temperature naturally peaks, and they yawn more before demanding mental tasks than after them, your brain cooling itself preemptively before the work begins. The yawn is not a response to exhaustion. It is preparation for performance. Now here's where it gets genuinely strange. If yawning is just a personal thermostat, why is it contagious? Why do you yawn when someone across the room yawns? Why are you probably fighting a yawn right now just from reading the word repeated this many times? The answer rewrites what you think this behavior is for. Contagious yawning is not about cooling. It is about connection. fMRI studies show that when you see someone yawn, your mirror neuron system activates. These are the same brain circuits that fire when you watch someone smile and feel a flicker of happiness yourself, or watch someone wince in pain and feel it in your own body. Yawning spreads through the same channels as empathy. And here is the evidence that seals it. Contagious yawning doesn't work equally on everyone. You are dramatically more likely to catch a yawn from a family member than from a stranger. More likely from a friend than from an acquaintance. The closer the emotional bond, the faster the yawn travels. Children under 4, who haven't yet fully developed the cognitive capacity for empathy, almost never catch contagious yawns. Neither do most people on the autism spectrum, whose social mirroring circuits process cues differently. Contagious yawning is not a reflex. It is a social signal, an ancient, wordless way of saying, I am attuned to you. I am part of your group. Your brain cools itself, and then, in the same breath, announces to everyone around you that you are paying attention. Picture your ancestors, a small group, maybe 30 individuals, spread across a stretch of savanna. The afternoon heat is climbing. Brains are running hot. Someone yawns. Within seconds, the yawn has swept through the group. Everyone's brain temperature has dropped a fraction of a degree. Everyone's alertness has sharpened. And, this is the part that rarely gets said, the yawn has silently reinforced who belongs to whom. The people who caught it fastest were the people most closely bonded. In an environment where survival depended on group cohesion, a signal that simultaneously cools individual brains and strengthens social connection is not trivial. It is essential. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Modern life has taught you to suppress this signal. You stifle yawns in meetings because yawning looks disengaged. You hide yawns in classrooms because yawning looks disrespectful. You apologize for yawning like you've committed some minor social offense. But your brain is not yawning because it's bored or rude. It's yawning because it's working. Because sustaining attention in a warm room under fluorescent lights for hours at a time is cognitively expensive, and your ancient cooling system is responding the only way it knows how. Every stifled yawn is a thermostat being overridden, and nobody told you what you were actually fighting. If this reframing of something you do every day is clicking for you, hit subscribe. There's a whole series of these, the hidden evolutionary reasons behind the things your brain does without asking permission. And you don't want to miss the next one. What makes yawning worth paying attention to is not just the cooling or the contagion. It's what the combination reveals. You contain a piece of biology that is simultaneously deeply personal and unavoidably social. Your brain runs hot, and you yawn to cool it. That's the private part. But your yawn travels, passes from person to person along invisible lines of connection and trust. That's the public part. The same behavior that regulates your own mental performance also quietly maps your relationships onto the world around you. You yawned today. Maybe twice. Maybe you're fighting one right now, jaw tight, lips pressed, doing what modern life trained you to do. But that yawn was never a weakness. It was your brain doing two things it has done since before your species had words: cooling itself when the work got heavy, and reaching silently for the people it trusts the most.